Before his first birthday, his father would leave the unstable family life, which often included George moving around to different locations within New York. In those days, this area was populated with a mixture of cultures and people that emigrated from many other countries, including Puerto Rico. In the 1970s, the Bronx had an economic collapse, and combined with an arson epidemic, it plunged into a state where gangs and dealers would strive.
Well, normally it'd be the landlord or owner of the building. There's your community involvement for you. The guy that has the local building and he wants it burned down, he'll get a hold of a gang member, and the gang member will do it for him. For $50, $100, whatever it is.
The highest rate of teenage pregnancy. And you look at the conditions in this neighborhood, and it's no wonder that it's the record maker for anything that's bad and wrong with the society.
Going through there, you had the sense that nobody was ever going to go fix that. That area is just damned.
Everything is black and white.
We were losing in the business community. We were losing the people that sparked the arts in the city.
1987, when he was 19 years old, in Puerto Rico, the DEA arrested key members of the tourist organization that employed him. In New York, more than 40 members of the same organization was arrested, and this created a vacuum and an opening for a change in leadership. George was ready for that change and made his move. By using his connections he made while working for the Torres family, he recruited friends from Castle Hill and other spots that he was linked in with. Money started coming in, and he was well on his way to being a boss. He opened up a few spots in the city and was paying his people what they were worth. Putting his team together, George recruited a hustler named Ward Johnson, also known as 6-0. 6-0 was a dollar cab driver that had a pre-existing relationship with George. 6-0 was one of those people that knew his way around town. He knew where to get things, and if he couldn't get it, he knew who to talk to. Over time, he became George's second-in-command, his right-hand man, who would help propel George to becoming the #1 source of H in the Bronx. 2 months later, about August 1987, law enforcement learned about George's operation from a guy he trusted, Mike. Mike turned out to be a confidential informant who on August 27th introduced George as Boy George to an undercover detective posing as a hustler that needed to re-up. On October 6, 1987, Mike and the undercover officer met with George again at a steakhouse, and with a full belly, the undercover officer bought some more H. 6-0 informed George that the dude he just did business with could be a cop, so George listened to his right-hand man and never did business with him again. In the 80s in New York, H was partially supplied by the Chinese gangs. One of those suppliers belonged to a gang named the Flying Dragons. George leveled up. He started making real money, grossing over $200,000 a week. The biggest problem at this level is figuring out a way to clean all that dirty money. So he hired financial consultants that made investments and diversified his money in order to make it legit.
His dope connect was coming through Boy George. But that's the only connection we have, 6 degrees of separation. I do not know this nigga. And that's why 50 used me. Hashtag output. This nigga told a story. If Poe showed me $1 million, I'll show him $2 million. I said to myself, well, I wish I knew that, because I would have definitely put $1 million in front of you to make $2 million. Yeah, I'm a hustler.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have put $1 million wherever you wanted me to bring it to, and now you're going to give me that $2 million for trying to be fly. But again, that nigga was getting that dope money. Dope money's always better than coke money. I wouldn't give a fuck where you at, what you doing. If you got a coke spot that's rocking and a dope spot that's rocking, more money coming out that dope house than it is that coke house.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was definitely getting it for his age and for where he was at and for the connect that he had. I think he had like a Chinese connect. He was getting it, but he only had like a 2-year run. Don't nobody know him.
Shit, a lot of niggas speak on Boy George.
Huh?
A lot of motherfuckers speak on him. Was he from Harlem? He ain't from Harlem, is he?
No, he not. You know why they speak of him? From the feds.
Right. Right.
From the feds. He's been in the feds 30 years. He a nigga running around the feds making moves, you know, with the heroin, whoever's pushing that connect with, you know, whoever's getting them that work in there and all that. He running with a strong Puerto Rican gang in there, the Betty Sietas. He's probably a shot caller because he's been down a long time and all that. But that nigga ain't, and people talk to him now because some of the stories they hear about, I'm talking about when he was home and when he went to jail, ain't nobody started talking about him till now. And unless he was in the feds,